Good morning, everybody. I'm Dwayne, AA5KD, and Mark asked me to do a DRATS presentation, so WD5G and myself are going to do that. Let me share my screen here. Everybody seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It looks good.
Yeah.
If you're going to get into DRATS, my suggestion would be this is one of the documents that you definitely need to read and look at. It's very informative, gives you the history of DRATS, that kind of thing. And you can find it out on the web. Just do a search for D-RATS, and this is the operating guide. You know, DRATS, it's a communications tool based on D-Star. And D-Star, you don't even need a radio to work DRATS. So that's one of the things about DRATS. You can send messages, you can send memos, you can send the ICS forms. It does WinLink, and we're gonna go through a lot of that stuff during this presentation. But DRATS is very simple to set up. You just download the program and you'll get a package that contains not only the DRATS program, but a repeater of sorts, which you can attach radios to, you can attach TNCs to, you can use your sound card modem and all that stuff to do all your communications with. So, you know, let's start by just showing you what DRATS looks like. This is DRATS. It's very simple. It has a messages area. It has a chat and files. So for files, you can see the files. These are on my machine. Now, if I was going to connect to, let's say, WD5G, then I would be able to see the files on his machine also, and we could transfer those back and forth.
Dwayne, we're seeing the PDF file.
Still, you're not seeing my DRATS stuff? Oh, I'll bet I have to share that individually.
You can just unshare and then share it again.
I see it says setting up DRATS.
Okay, let me, how about now?
Okay.
You see this screen that I'm moving around?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let me go back then. This is DRATS. You have a message area, you have a chat area, you have a files area. The files on this side are on my machine, and the files, if I was connected to another station, then I would see the files on his machine. And then you have an event log that gives you some information about what's going on with your DRATS. Under File, you go down to Preferences. Here's where everything gets set up. So you call sign, you don't need to put the name in there. You don't even need to put the call sign in there, I don't think. But you have all of these areas for your preferences. Paths, I've left my paths alone. This is where DRATS stores its files, its maps, and all the logos. Maps, this is where, if you're going to use the map server, these are the places that it goes to get these maps. GPS config, I've put my position in there manually since I don't necessarily have a GPS attached to all of my machines. Then you can export your GPS messages. I don't do that. There's there's no real benefit that I see from doing any of this. Appearance wise, these are the colors you can change. Your chat, log your chat traffic, or, you know, load the log tail so that you could see what was in the log. Show the status updates in your chat and all that stuff. Sounds, if you're going to have a sound, when it connects or when it receives a message or sends a message, you can do all of that too. Messages. It will automatically forward any messages or email that you get from somebody else if you enable the automatic forward of your messages. And then allow your WinLink gateway. If you're going to do that, you want your WinLink connection to be whatever, and the drop-down box shows network, RMS, whatever. Then the server, the port, and the port has to be open on your firewall or it won't work. And the password and your WinLink SSID. If you're going to do other things like POP3, SMTP stuff, here's where you enable it here and make sure those ports are open on your firewall. Now here's the meat and potatoes of the program. This is where you define what you have connected to your DRAS. In my case, I'm going over to my other server, which actually runs. Let me run something real quick to show you what I'm talking about server wise. I don't need to go there. I need to go. I probably need to share that one. Okay. Well, you can't see the DRAS repeater proxy? I guess not. So I'm going to have to stop. Now I'm having some issues here, so bear with me. Oh, there it is. Okay, can everybody see this window now, the DRATS proxy?
Yes.
Okay, this is the server. You can run both of them at the same time, but you don't have to. But what this allows you to do is it allows everybody to connect to the server. And if you have a radio that's attached to it via if you add a COM port per se, then here's where you would do all of that. And then it would show up in this window as COM8 9600 baud, whatever. Then you would make sure that you check the accept incoming connections on port 9000, which you're going to need to make sure you open up on your firewall. And I just trust the local host. I don't have a require authentication or any of that stuff. And then you click on and it turns that function on. So that's where I'm going here. Can everybody see this window now, that I'm moving around?
Yes.
This is the radio function. This is where you define all of your radio functions that you're going to go to or across the net. In this case, this says I'm going across the network through my internet connection to a machine that's on my network on port 9000. that is the AA5KD-S server. And we can see that. Does everybody see this window still, the DRAT server?
Yeah.
Or the, excuse me, just the DRATS program? Well, that AA5KD-S is my server that sits, that's it right there. So there's the server, and it's running DRATS and it's running DRAT server. So here you can see that in addition to the server, but WD5G is there and the W5NOR-S, which Mark is running at his house. If we want to communicate, well, let's not get there yet. So we go back here. So you check everything that you want to make sure you're connected to. So I'm connected to the server across the room. Then I'm also connected to Mark's DRATS, W5NOR.org:9000, and I'm connected to him. But as you can see, I'm not connected to anybody else. So from there, if you check any of these boxes, raw text or sniff, somebody ask a question?
Well, you're at Big Springs, Texas as well, right?
Say again?
Aren't you connected with Big Spring, Texas as well?
No.
It has to be enabled in that left-hand column.
Got to be enabled in the left-hand column.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this is just raw text that when I was connected to this guy for test, you can uncheck all of those. It doesn't matter, but it has to be enabled in the left-hand column.
Got it. Thank you.
Then transfers. This is where you can help yourself a little bit by changing block sizes and stuff like that. I think it defaults to 512. I've upped mine to 1024. It makes it a little bit quicker. Then you have your network stuff. TCP gateway. Dave and I at WD5G, we experimented with this, and we've come to the conclusion that none of this stuff is really necessary until you get down to outgoing. Well, unless you do the outgoing mail stuff, you may have to do your TCP forwarding. But outgoing mail, if you're going to do a TCP or an SMTP gateway, which is, things like if you enable it, you've got SMTP server, which in my case would be the cox.net server. And it says port 25, but Cox is different. I think it's port 567. And then you put your source address, your SMTP username and password, and this will get you so that you can do your SMTP stuff through DRATS. Email accounts, here's where you would add your email accounts, and then your email access. So basically, what we have here is I don't have any of the SMTP stuff enabled or any of the POP stuff or any of that junk. So what we've got though is, I'm gonna close that window. Here's DRATS. So I have messages. And if you want to send a message, you would, just basically go in and say, okay, new message. And you would choose a form if you're going to use a form. As you can see, the ICS forms are here. So for you MCOM guys, here's all your forms that you would need. And then if you have any other forms that you may want, you can add them to this list. So in my case, I'm just going to, I'm just going to send an email. So I click OK, and the destination call sign I want to send it to is WD5G. And I'm going to make the subject test. And then I'm just going to say, if I have any attachments, we've tried this too. And if you've got a large attachment, it's going to take a while. So I would suggest that, you just, unless you have a real reason to do an attachment. Just type in the text and be done with that. So once we're done that, if I hit send, it's going to put it in the outbox, and then the outbox is going to check and make sure, like every 60 seconds, if there's anything in there, it sends it out. Or if you want to send it now, then you send it. But in my case, I want to send it WinLink. Dave, that was // right? Mr. Downing?
I don't, it was colon, wasn't it?
Well, / WinLink 2 and then colon, right?
Yeah,
Or is it just,
WL2K.
so is this
Yeah,
it? WL2K colon.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, so I'm just going to hit send via, and as you see, the station will be WD5G, and the port would be me. Is that the way we want to do that, Dave?
I think so, yeah.
All right, let's find out. Okay, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's message transfer to WD5G, and then it shows you the progress as it's sending the message. Now it says it's 100%. That's telling me my message was sent. So now here is my sent box, and this is stuff we've tested with, but if you look at here, this is the one I just sent to Dave. Now it should have gone out to the internet using WinLink, and Dave should be getting it. Anything yet, Dave?
No, I'm just checking right now.
What
go ahead.
mode was this sent by? You said WinLink, but radio or what?
No, it goes out the internet. So it actually goes out to.
We could have done this via the radio, but right now this is just an internet demo.
So it's just an email.
Yes.
You know.
This is Hank. What is the difference between this and just sending a Gmail email? I mean, what advantage?
The advantage is, well,
the advantage is that you have that the Gmail emails are kind of a one-to-one thing. This could be a one-to-many situation, and it gives you a multitude of ways to send things. You can send it over packet radio, over D-Star, over a D-Star network.
But you still need internet to do it, right?
No, if we had to, we could do radio to radio email and send messages via this media.
See, I have my IC9700 connected via serial port to the DRAT server on the other side of this room. And Dave and I tested this on 145.050 simplex FM. And he was able to connect to the server.
Now, simplex digital voice, not FM.
I mean, yeah, excuse me, digital voice. I'm getting ahead of myself. So he was able to send email, receive email. The problem being is he could not reply to that email, and that's a quirk within DRATs. But if you send, for instance, let's say you're at a disaster site and you wanted to send a message to the EOC, you could get on your radio and connect via repeater, via a simplex DV mode, a D-Star radio, and send that message without having the internet.
Okay, I understand. So essentially you're limited to repeaters being up or line of sight, 2 meter or whatever you're on. So, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So if you really want some long distance communication, will this work on any kind of HF frequencies? Like 20 meters, 40 meters?
Yes, because if you put it out on WinLink, it's going to go out over the WinLink gateways and eventually get wherever you addressed it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Dave, anything yet?
Oh, I got your message. I tried to send a reply, which
Oh, okay.
probably.
So anyway, Dave got the message via WinLink across the internet, and he's replied but I don't have it yet. So let's wait and see what happens there. Chat. You can chat. You can use this as a chat room. So if I type hello, it's going to go out to the masses. You see it in red. And Dave and Mark, are you on? You're on too, right?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, so there Dave came back and said hello yourself. So we chatted. And this is a one-to-many chat. So
well, it can be one-to-many or it can be group-oriented. You have the ability down in the bottom to define groups. And what they do is filter kinds of traffic so that I only see the traffic that I'm interested in seeing.
right. So for instance, I've got a group here called EOC. EOC, the only people that will see anything in this chat room will be those who have the EOC group on their DRATs also. So if you go back to main, everybody's on main, but EOCs are not. You also have quick messages down here, and you have QSTs. QSTs are like the rooms here, EOC. If I wanted to create another one, I could create another one. In other words, if I do add and I go text, that's not what I want to do.
So these quick messages are predefined canned messages to keep you from having to type the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
You just hit it and click send.
So it's very, very configurable. It's very powerful in the fact that you've got chat. And we go to files.
Dwayne, may I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Let's say we're using 2 meters through the repeater. How do I hook this up to my 2 meter radio? I mean, obviously, most 2 meter radios don't have a RS-232 or any type of port like that. So how are we interconnecting?
Well, to begin with, you're going to need a D-Star radio.
No, that's not true. He could do he could do it over a regular packet radio.
Yes, I understand that, but we're talking, he's not going to be able to take a let's say a Yaesu radio and connect it directly to the DRATs thing, unless he does it through the TNC or the packet or the sound modem.
A signal link modem of some type or sound modem is all you need.
Okay, how do you hook a modem to your 2 meter radio?
You take they take the USB cable from your PC, connect it to the signal link. You take the signal link, transmit audio and receive audio, as well as PTT signals, and hook them to your radio, which could be through a connector in the back, a DIN connector maybe, or through the mic jack on the front. And that's the way you do it, and it works fine. but you do have to have some kind of an audio interface to get from probably the USB cable on the radio.
So you probably need to build yourself some type of a patch box where you can have a plug-in for that that cable from your computer, and also have your microphone plugged in.
Yes, and the nice thing about the Signal Links is, for people that don't want to build cables, it has an RJ45 connector that connects to the Signal Link, and in the other end you can order whichever cable you need: an 8-pin DIN, a mini DIN, you know, a mic connector, a round or RJ connector. So and also the schematics for hooking all those things up are readily available too.
Is Signal Link a company?
Yes, it is.
All right, that helps to know that.
It's a very well known, it's been around for years and works fine. And the neat thing about the Signal Link is it actually has a built-in sound card inside it. But if you want to go on the cheap, you can buy like a $7 internet USB sound card, and you know, use tip ring sleeve connectors to connect through that to the radio.
See, what I'm looking at is, you know, even myself, we've got a lot of folks here that aren't nearly as far along or as computer oriented as you guys are. And so for them, learning how to, you know, interconnect these things to their radios is an important step.
Well,
And
we'll see if we can provide a couple of links to how to do that. And there are lots and lots of those out there if you just Google them. And we'll try to give that to Mark, and maybe you can get it posted on your on the SCAR's website there somewhere.
Outstanding. Thank you.
yeah, those two files, DRATS, can you see what I'm showing now? Or do I have to reshare that?
We're seeing your files list.
Okay. Well, no, so I got to reshare this one. New share, the DRATS. You seeing that now?
Yes.
Okay. This file will, maybe it's the other file. New share.
Yeah, there it is. Tigeronics is the actual signal, the name for the company that makes the Signal Link.
Thank you.
And there is a file out there that will show you what your COM port stuff needs to be and all that stuff. And I will give Mark the URLs to these files so that he can put them up on the W5NOR website.
Hey, Dwayne, let's look at the map function.
Okay. Let me okay, is everybody back to this screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we have
Under view.
yeah, but I want to make sure that we get to the maps. We're going to show the map function, but here is all of the configuration stuff for the maps. If you go to places like this Thunder Forest, you're going to have to log in with them and get a PIN code so that you can download the new maps from them. But we go to view and we can go to map. Now I'm going to have to share this, so hang on. There it is. Everybody see the map now?
Yeah.
Okay. This shows, and I'm going to have to move it over.
Probably change the scale. Zoom out.
Yep. There you are. Okay. There's myself and WD5G. Now, for some reason, we haven't found out a way to change the little icon. It's always going to be a car for everybody that's not living in my house. My house is here. And this is where Dave is at. So it shows up as a car. We haven't figured out how to change that. But if you change the scale, and if there was anybody else that was connected to your star, then let's see.
You should see me, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I want to change the scale here to. Well, I thought we could.
Yeah, I don't think you have the GPS APRS function enabled in that thing, Mark.
Yeah.
Could be. I put the GPS in. I probably didn't. It just should be just to the south of the lake there. So,
Yeah.
Nope.
So yes, if he put his GPS stuff in there, did you say you did or you didn't?
Well, I put the GPS location in. I probably didn't enable it.
Okay, but anyway, if everything was kosher and he did what he's supposed to do to get the GPS stuff, then he would show up also. Anybody that's in your list here, I don't think it shows.
No, it only shows.
Yes, it does. So here's a guy, man, I can't even read that.
KG5CEN.
So he's in New Orleans. And there's another one up there in New Jersey. But very helpful map function.
Again, that's a big deal, I think, for emergency operations.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you guys are going to do DRATs, it doesn't take up a lot of resources on your computer. I leave it running on this laptop all the time. And it's always running on my server over there all the time. So if you guys decide to experiment with DRATs, go ahead and install it and, try to connect and use the functions. What am I missing, Dave?
You might give them the URL, make sure they have the URL to connect to Mark's server there and as well as yours.
Yes.
And you guys might want to talk about, you have done some packet or direct radio connection stuff.
We
Seems
have.
what the differences there might be.
Like I said, both of us connected our IC9700s to our DRATs program, and we put it on 145.050 and in the DV mode on your D-Star radio, and he disconnected his internet connection totally so we could make sure we had a good viable test. He was able to connect to my 9700 and log into the server. He was also able to send email and do chats and whatever else.
And I could send email to WinLink, but I
Yes.
couldn't get the message back. And that's a problem that I think people are trying to address, is that for WinLink messaging, it's pretty much outbound only, unless you have an internet connection.
And yeah, that sort of hampers you, but if you're out in a disaster area and you need to get, a message to the EOC, then you could get a one-way message to them. Hopefully they'll fix this, because I think that's one thing that's definitely lacking in this program. But
But make no mistake though, 9600 baud is not fast. So this really doesn't lend itself to sending large attachments or files or images unless you're doing it over the internet.
And that is definitely an issue. 9600 is high as you can go. So there's no choices for anything higher than that. So you're stuck with that. But it does get there, albeit a little slow, but it does get there. Chat files, view. Message templates. Has everybody seen the message template file?
No, still see a map.
Oh, okay. So I need to go back and share.
So in other words, if I were trying to send, let's say, a form to the EOC, you know, that just a standard 8x10, you know, form, would it transmit in such a time that it wouldn't time out the repeater?
Yes, and it's the thing about using forms is these forms are predefined on the server. So instead of sending the entire form, it just says you sends the message in such a way that it gets to the other end and says, okay, put this bit of code in block 1, this goes in block 2, this goes in block 3.
Okay,
So
but what about,
send the entire thing.
what about, let's say, a local form that's not, you know, already there?
It really ought to be predefined on so that it doesn't need to be resent each time.
Lee, are you seeing my screen now where it shows the
Yes.
form manager? Okay. Well, here, if you do an import, you can import any forms you have that are local. So
You predefine those forms.
yes, you've predefined those forms. You have created a form, and then you import it into DRATS through the form manager, and now it's available to you to choose when you go send your messages. So
For this to work well, though, the form needs to be pre-located at each end.
yes,
So this would be pretty similar to the forms that they have on WinLink.
Yes. And in fact, a lot of those are well-defined forms that, you know, are just generic, but you have the ability through the form manager to create any form you'd like to have.
so for instance, message. I open up ICS 201. There's the ICS 201. So destination call sign can be a call sign, or we tested this, right, Dave, with the email address.
I think we did, yes.
And I think we had to use WinLink plus the email address.
Yeah.
So let's do // WL2K : Galen. You have an email address you want me to send this form to? You're still muted.
Come on, Galen.
Okay.
I'm sorry, were you trying to call me?
Yeah. You got an email address you want me to send this ICS 201 form to, just so we can test it?
Yeah, WX5MOR on WinLink.
Okay, so I really don't need to do.
No, you don't. Just back up.
Well, you're still going to send it through WinLink though, right? Or not?
Yeah, but I can put a call sign here. I just wanted to demonstrate that you could also put an email address going out through WinLink. This is going to go out WinLink anyway. Okay, so I'm not going to put any of this other stuff in here, but so I'm going to send via, or is that what I want to do, Dave?
Yes.
So this is going to send the message out, and you're going to get the 201, the ICS 201 form. So this would be good if you know you're at a disaster area, and all you had was a radio. You could still send this ICS 201 form via WinLink to the EOC, and they wouldn't be able to reply back to you at this point in time, but they would at least get your ICS 201 form. Make sure. You got it yet?
No, I haven't.
Just click send. It should go out over the internet to him. We've tested all this before, but I guess we probably should have done it last night too.
Yeah. No, it's always something whenever you do
Yeah,
stuff.
every demo, something won't work.
But anyway, we'll wait and see if Galen gets that. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Like I said, transfer interrupted. I wonder why.
So other than the interfacing question, are there any other questions that we might answer?
I think the one thing to make clear, just to clarify a word that Lee used, is that on VHF packet, this would not go through a repeater and time out through audio. It would go through a digipeater and use TNC is probably the better way to chase that out.
No, I think it would have to be a direct connection over a packet that you would break it up into segments, and
Right.
it probably you wouldn't probably send anything that's long enough to time out a repeater, which typically has a 3-minute timeout. So I'd say that's probably pretty unlikely. However, you could break it up into segments and send it into smaller chunks that won't be a length of near 3 minutes, and get the message sent that way.
Because it's always gonna, if you send it out in chunks, it's, you know, it's gonna drop the connection and then it's gonna reestablish the connection.
Yeah.
However, one more thing we forgot to mention is we've also done this over Arden, and of course it's lickety split mo ricky ticky when you do that. We're looking at full internet speeds there. So in an emergency scenario, probably using this over Arden links would probably be the smart way to deploy it.
I'm just looking at ways, to communicate back with the EOC, because I run a lot of the nets from my home. And so if I wanted to be able to send things to EOC quickly, but I don't see the speed here.
Well, let's look at this.
Being able to pay attention to radio traffic and everything else, and then pay attention to this.
Well, what you could do, one of the advantages of this is that when you're on the radio, only one guy can be talking at the same time. With this, a lot of people use this on some of the larger nets that have lots of people on them, and it gives you a back channel way of communicating to remind somebody to bring up a subject or to ask a question. So it's kind of an ancillary function. So you might think of it that way. And if you look at some of those other networks out there that Dwayne had listed that come default, there are some real busy ones. There's lots and lots of traffic on. So that's a way that you could use it to augment a voice net.
You might pull one of those up, Dwayne, and see if there's any traffic going by.
Okay.
On the established ones.
Let's see. As Dave, let me, I need to share this too, so hold on. Can everybody see the
Yeah.
Okay. As Dave said, here's our Arden connection. We've tested it over that. So let's see if, I think this was the one. All right, we'll just go to Big Spring.
Now do a poll or do a query all stations.
Is everybody seeing this screen now?
Yeah.
And you see the W5AW? Okay, that's Big Springs, Texas.
I
So
don't see,
now,
I don't see W5AW.
The-
Oh, okay, there it is. Okay.
yeah,
So it looks like only one person's logged into that server right now. That is the server. So some of those, like I think the nets that are on QuadNet array, that's a pretty busy one. You know, when it's net time.
so as you can see, I connected to the Gwinnett. The Gwinnett Aries reflector, which is in Georgia.
Right outside of Atlanta.
And so you see, and there's one person that's connected to there also.
That's
So
we saw earlier, right down on the Gulf. Remember that?
yes, down in Louisiana. So if somebody was sitting in front of their computer like this KG5CEN, he would be seeing everything that I'm doing right now. So to disconnect, you just go back to where you connected to in the first place, and you uncheck the box and you click save. And we'll ping all the stations that are currently connected. So there's WD5G and there's my server.
Norman should show up too.
It said it unable to connect, did not properly respond. So let me try that again. It didn't reboot itself, did it, Mark?
No, I'm in there watching. I don't know why it didn't. Let's take a look. See
Wayne, did you accidentally uncheck it when you check stuff a minute ago when you uncheck things?
Now it's checked.
Now it's checked.
What's there? Okay, there you are.
Oh.
Must be that slow internet connection you got.
Yeah, no, I think what it was, I had a panel open, a configuration panel open. It probably shut it down during that time.
Let me try this. I'm going to see if I can connect. Okay, I just connected to WD5G's DRATs, and these are the files that are on his machine. And here's the files that are on my machine. So if he wanted to get a file off of my machine, he would just, you know, just basically highlight it and just move it on over. So let's see, have you got a small file? No, geez, you already.
Well, we're not doing over radio, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll just,
There's an 8K one there.
Essentially, it's peer-to-peer connection right now.
yes, it is.
Okay.
So all I would do is I would highlight a file off of his box and hit download.
Right.
And you can see at the bottom, it has started the process.
So this directory of files you're seeing, these are all the things that come in the default DRATS zip file when you unzip it. They're part of the installation. Like Dwayne said, there's two executables there. One is the client and the other is the server.
And here,
Right.
okay, so I received the file that I downloaded from Dave just now. It was a 48K file, so it took, it took a little while at 9600 baud, even over the internet. Excuse me, not 9600, but over the internet. But as you can see, it's fairly usable. Mark, you've downloaded files off of my server too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we've tested most of this stuff. And the one thing that we have found is it's very versatile.
Wait a second.
It's the only problem we have is if you're going to go across a radio to radio link, you're not able to get any reply back from a message that you may have sent through email. And my understanding is they're working on that issue, but so far there hasn't been any progress.
I thought we did that the other night.
We did, but it was across the internet.
Oh, you're saying over radio. It's okay.
Yeah, over
got it.
a radio to radio link, you can get a one-way message across.
They just don't have, something's wrong with the inbound coming in.
Galen, you still haven't received a message?
I hadn't as of a moment ago. Let me connect again. No.
Okay, it may be, let me do something different.
Did you actually need to put my email address in there as opposed to just my call sign?
Yeah, maybe so. Well, WX5MOR, that's at your house, or is that at the,
Well, it'd be
That's a
WX5.
WinLink.
It's at WinLink.
right, and so that should have gone, but I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do another 201. Okay, and I'm going to put WX5MOR. And I'm just going to click send this time. That should have put it in the outbox. But see, Dave, it's telling me the address is unknown.
Well, I think she didn't have a we'll put something in the mission number. That's probably what you're seeing there.
All right, let me do this.
A
Let me,
fictitious number in there.
let me delete both of those. Yeah, you're probably right. New.
Or send one to his regular internet email address as well.
All right, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll just put 2 hours. Now let's see what happens.
So that doesn't need to be WX5MOR at winlink.org.
Say again?
That doesn't need to be WX5MOR at winlink.org.
I think it probably should, since you're not going there. That wasn't sent via WinLink, Dwayne.
So That would be WL2K.
X. Oh, never mind.
Excuse me, I got to do // WL2K : WX5MOR at. Okay.
That ought to get it. Now send via. Which, by the way, it's off the screen when you do that. The rest of the people can't see.
Yeah, I know, but don't want to send it via because, well, I guess I could send it via my server, right?
Yeah. That'll probably impose a small delay, though.
And my inbox, Mark sent a hello test here.
I also just sent another one, which is the form coming through. So it'll be, see what the form comes through. That was just a hello test. And then check for another one here. It says sent, so you should have, yep, there you go. The howdy is a form. See, it says ICS on the type.
Okay, and there's the form.
And one important thing we haven't mentioned so far, this is free.
Yeah, doesn't cost you a red cent.
Well, I think this is something that we're going to have to, probably look into a lot. It seems like it has a lot of capabilities. I think the biggest thing for, most of the guys is going to see how they can properly interconnect it with their, equipment. I know I personally don't have a server. And so I don't believe from what you're saying that you have to have a server for this to work.
No, I've got the W5NOR set up as a server, and that's where we just store files. The rest is all kind of peer-to-peer stuff once you make connections. So laptops work just fine. I mean, Dwayne's running his server on laptop, so I guess so am I.
Right.
You don't need a ton of servers.
Everybody could connect through the W5NOR server in order if they wanted to utilize this.
Correct.
Yes.
That's the things that I think we have to, be able to get a list of items down so that people know how to actually use it. And what they're going to have to utilize to come in and make the program work for them. I think it has great capabilities from what I'm seeing.
It does, and there is a learning curve, but once you get over that learning curve, it's very easy to bring up. It's very easy to manage. I don't need to hardly do anything on my server wise. It just runs all the time, so it's very, very easy to manage.
It'd be a good thing to set up and test routinely, like every month or something, on one of your Elmer nights or a net, and maybe round robin messaging via the different media that you have.
Yeah.
And because like all of us, we tend to forget things we don't use.
And Mark, I think this is something that we can probably look at, utilizing during an Elmer meeting. See if there's a group that wants to start working on this, and maybe get them as something that we can expand inside the club.
Yep, I put in chat. The chat message just went out. The DRATS page that'll go on that is on SCAR's website, so has some of those quick links there, and we'll expand it out as we get more information. But you can find the software link there, and W5NOR server information is there,
and I'll send you the 2 documents URLs also.
Fantastic.
Or maybe
I think they're there. I've got the getting started and the operations guide is the 2
Yes.
that are there. Yep.
Great.
So if you've already got them there, then everybody's got what they need.
Super. Well, I'll ask you guys, is there anything else that you need to pass along?
Just one thing. When you download this, make sure you get the version 0.3.9, because This program started about 8 years ago, and it just kind of didn't really go anywhere, and it was unattended. And some new blood got into things, and they started to add features and functionality. So to get that new functionality, you need 3.9, 0.3.
Matter of fact, if you see the screen now, this copyright 2010, this Dan Smith is the one who wrote DRAS. But I don't know whether he lost interest or whatever happened, whether he got busy at work or whatever. But in 2014, this Italian guy and this Marius Fertrucci, I don't know how you pronounce that, but anyway, they picked it up and they've been running with it since then, and they're the ones that are updating it. So it's yes, it's an old program, but they have updated it to add all the good stuff that's in it now.
What's a good list of stuff that's usable as far as data modes that are on radio? Packet, FM, is FM audio usable?
Yes, that's what you're doing over packet radio is FM audio.
Packet, but it's all packet. It's not just audio only. It's a packet, correct?
Well,
Data.
it's an audio.
Data.
It's an audio-based modem that you're sending data over. Because
Right. Okay. So you got packet. You've got HF, VHF, UHF. Packet would be possible. D-Star has a data mode called, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, it's a channel. It's one of the channels that comes with D-Star.
Okay.
So there's a voice channel and a data channel. But here's the big thing, guys. If you really want to make this thing go, getting Arden up and working could really give you some capability.
And
Because Arden being more or less, Arden was designed for MCOM. That's what it stands for, Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network. And it's a closed loop. Arden, even though they have the ability to connect across the internet through a tunnel, but it really wasn't designed to do that. It was designed to put up a backbone within your city or whatever, neighborhood, whatever, and be a closed loop. Now I have, Arden at my house. Dave has Arden at his house, but we can't talk to each other line of sight. So we talk to each other through a tunnel that I have created at my house. But we've tested this over Arden, and it works great. So you have a way of getting into Arden and from the outside, and this will be a good demonstration to have. Maybe another one, how we do it strictly over Arden. But are there any other questions that we can answer?
is there a Yaesu data mode? I know we could have fringed that, and I just don't understand Yaesu enough.
Yes, there is if you're referring to YSF. But the problem is it's there, but it's not accessible. There's not really any software that anybody's written that lets you use it. If you're in the Yaesu Fusion, the narrow mode, you have a voice channel and a data channel, but it's never been available to anything. So it's there, but you can't use it.
Okay.
And that question's been asked many times, and it's kind of nonsensical, but that's the way it is. You can, if you have some stuff, send if you have the Yaesu hand mic with the video camera, you can send a video over that link, but that's really about the only way you can use that.
Oh, they just don't have any drivers built out to do any.
Never any software to make it extensible from outside the radio itself.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, you guys didn't look to be that far apart. Why can't you connect direct via Arden? Want to be not high enough?
Well, somebody built a great big hill in between us.
Yeah.
There's a ridge.
Okay.
Matter of fact, even if we get a backbone set up, which currently we have two 5 gig radios with 120-degree sector antennas up on top of the Sandridge building. He doesn't even have direct line of sight to the Sandridge building. So He's going to have some issues getting Arden without somebody doing a relay between him and the sandridge. But currently today, I'm trying to get up on top of that building so that I can get those antennas sighted, because I think they're the gentleman that I had put them up there was W5GDL, Steve
Hazelwood.
And I've been unable to contact him or you know, to ask him, hey, I need to get up on the building so I can, you know, get on the iPhone with Dave and get those things aligned, because I would imagine they're pointed straight up and down and they need to have a down tilt. So
Do you know what, do you know where Steve's business is?
yes, I do. And I've been
Okay.
out, but every time I go out there, he's not there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He likes to go out and play a lot.
Yes, he does. But that's the presentation, and I'm always available for chats or whatever. If you got, you know, some problems with DRATs or whatever, or need more questions answered. Dave, you got anything else?
No, that's it. I will post that information on the interfaces, the inexpensive ones, and a link for the signal link. So from that, you'll probably get everything you need.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen,
Dwayne?
thank you so much.
I got a quick question for Dwayne.
Go ahead.
Dwayne, what is your phone number? I have regular contact with the guy who has pretty regular contact with Steve.
405-255-8065.
Okay. 255-8065.
Yep.
And what's your call?
Alpha 5 Kilo Delta.
Okay, I'll see what I can do to help you with that. I talk with a guy on the 222 machine very regularly, and he talks with Steve pretty regularly.
Okay.
So we'll see what we can do.
Thanks.
Gentlemen.